Hello, good evening. Welcome to North West Tonight with Roger Johnson. Thank you for joining us. Our top story, flying the flag. As Union flags go up across the region, opinions are divided.
It's just ridiculous that anyone thinks it's a point of controversy. It's a flag.
It's thought the flag's are part of a campaign. Also tonight,
I'm stood on top of a nuclear reactor at Heysham Power Station. Join me later to find out why.
rural homes under the hammer, how families are struggling with the housing crisis in the countryside. As the drowned village of Mardale emerges from a Lake District reservoir, we'll meet a man whose house was moved brick by brick. Roll up, roll up. We'll meet Tom, the man who rolls up to every single show at Blackpool's Tower Circus.
And low pressure close by over the next few days, so it is going to stay rather blustery. Join me at the end of the programme to find out what that really means for our weather.
I'm sure you may well have spotted this, but over the last few days, Union flags and crosses of St George have appeared on lampposts and been painted onto roundabouts and walls right across the northwest. It's part of a campaign called Operation Raise the Flags, which some say has links to far-right groups who are involved in anti-immigrant protests. Salford's Labour-run council says that it won't remove the flags from two main roads, even though they are unauthorised, while the Liverpool City Region's mayor says the displays may be designed to intimidate. Dan O'Donoghue has this report.
Flying the flag, a common sight during sports tournaments, jubilees or other major national events. But in recent weeks, Union flags and St George's crosses have been appearing en masse in our towns and cities. In the last few days, these flags appeared in Salford. They've been dividing locals.
These Union Jacks have been hijacked. The far right have hijacked it as their emblem to foment trouble.
You see it in the news about, oh, you can't have your flags up because it's racist, or, oh, I'm being told to take my flag down, or, oh, it's a point of controversy, and it's ridiculous that anyone thinks it's a point of controversy. It's a flag. Who cares?
I guess people, they don't like flags around UK. They feel offended, and I don't know why they feel that way, but me personally, I don't feel that way.
If they knew what they were doing, they'd have the flag the right way up. But apparently they don't.
The movement has been branded Operation Raise the Colours by organisers. Anti-racism campaigners Hope Not Hate say those behind the operation have links to the far right. Here, Britain First's leader says they've donated 75% of their flag stocks to people in Manchester and the West Midlands.
The appearance of so many flags has caused a headache for local authorities. Take them down and run the risk of inflaming tensions at a sensitive time in UK politics. Keep them up and risk breaching UK highway laws.
Here in Salford, the City Council said they fully support residents who choose to express their national and civic pride, and said the flags will be staying up unless there are health and safety breaches. Whereas Warrington Council called on residents not to raise flags on the highways and emphasised the area had a proud legacy of fostering peace, community respect and cohesion. And in parts of Liverpool today, the City Council was already taking flags down.
I'm not against people having patriotic views or loving the country or whatever. Where I do have an issue is if people overstep that boundary where they're using it as some signal that people who they might describe as non-English or non-British or whatever, but that they're not welcome.
A debate which will continue to divide. Dan O'Donoghue, BBC North West Tonight.
But not the fact that you have to fly the flag the right way up, which numerous people have been in touch about. We don't know about all the ones in the VT that other people have put up. The one in the tower behind me, we think, when I started at the start of the programme, was unfortunately shot from behind. So it was the right way up, but anyway. Lots of you are very eagle-eyed, so thank you for your emails. Right, let's move on. Last night, if you were watching, you'll know that we reported on the row over the future of hospital accident and emergency services in the Southport and Ormskirk area. At the moment, as you might know, they're split between the hospitals in each town, but the NHS wants to put them all onto one site. Last night, if you were watching, you'll know there was a public meeting to discuss the plans. Our health correspondent, Jill Dummigan, was there. This evening, she is here, and you can tell us a bit more about what was said. Jill.
Well, Roger, until 2003, Southport and Ormskirk hospitals both had full A&E services treating both adults and children. The government then decided it would be safer for each site to specialise. After huge protests, Southport got the adult A&E and Ormskirk children's emergency care. But for many years now, the people in charge of healthcare locally have been unhappy about that. They say it causes staffing shortages. Since 2020, the Ormskirk A&E has had to close between midnight and 8 a.m. and children needing further surgery and diagnostic tests have had to be moved to other hospitals. They now want to bring both A&Es onto one site, meaning one hospital would have none, and they're currently running a public consultation on the best way to do that. The question is which to shut. Southport Hospital is an older, more cramped building, but safety reasons mean moving the adult A&E to Ormskirk would also mean moving 7 other services at a cost, they say, of £91 million. Ormskirk is a newer building with more space on site, but bosses say moving the A&E to Southport would only involve one other service, with a total cost of £33 million, and it would take 2 years less to do. They would prefer Southport to be the combined centre, but where does that leave the people and their hospital in Ormskirk? It's 2003 and thousands march along Southport streets protesting the closure of the children's A&E. The changes also saw Ormskirk Hospital lose its adult A&E but gain an improved children's emergency department. Now, 2 decades on, they could be losing that too, a prospect greeted with dismay here.
It's too far for the children. If they're ill and you need an A&E, you want to get there fast. You don't want to be taking an hour and a half, an hour and 20 minutes to get to Southport.
I prefer everything to be here, the children's A&E and the adult A&E.
We have some space at Ormskirk. We have space in buildings that are not being used. Southport always seems to me to be absolutely crammed full.
For many years now, the people running both hospitals have been unhappy about emergency services being split between 2 sites 10 miles apart. They say it causes staffing issues, which have led to the children's A&E here being closed overnight since 2020. The public consultations just got underway, but they've already said their preferred option is to move everything to Southport.
It's not a done deal. No decisions have been made, and we've been really clear about the fact that no decisions have been made. Yes, there's a preferred option coming into the consultation, but that's not the same as a decision being made.
Over in Formby, the first of a number of public meetings gets underway. Just 17 minutes up the road from Southport, the mood here's one of optimism.
Well, Southport is the bigger place. Southport obviously attracts a lot of children during the summer months, so I think there's a lot of drive behind the thought that Southport is the better place.
And Ormskirk is really a pain in the neck to get to from here. So if you're in a rush, if you're in a panic, 4 o'clock in the morning and you have to take your partner to the hospital, you would be panicking and those roads wouldn't help.
If the children's A&E goes from Ormskirk, all children's inpatient care goes with it, leaving maternity care. But women having babies without the backup of an emergency department is the main reason being given for proposals to reduce maternity care at the nearby Liverpool Women's Hospital. Another very controversial idea. What would you say to people in Ormskirk looking at this, going, you're just not talking about this, and actually that will move next?
So we are talking about maternity services, but not as part of this programme, hence the reason that we can't bring that in at this stage. We can look at different options for maternity services, so there may well be midwifery-led units, or the different ways of delivering maternity services that we need to consider.
The consultation runs until October the 3rd. Jill Dummigan, BBC North West Tonight.
We'll let you know what happens, of course. Now, Paul Gallagher, the older brother of the Oasis stars Liam and Noel, has appeared at Westminster Magistrates Court today, charged with offences including rape and coercive and controlling behaviour. Lawyers for the 59-year-old indicated that he intends to plead not guilty. He was bailed and is due to appear at Harrow Crown Court next month. Manchester Airport's boss says that the North West is being held back by poor transport links and he wants new rail lines in the region. Chris Woodroof has urged the government to revive Northern Powerhouse Rail ahead of the Labour Party conference going between Liverpool and Manchester via Manchester Airport and then on across the Pennines.
The transport infrastructure really does need that investment. If I compare the number of passengers that come to Manchester Airport by train Today it's 14%. Any London airport, it's 40%. Why is there a difference? Well, it's because of the transport infrastructure.
A company's been fined £200,000 after a father and son fell to their deaths from a work platform in Liverpool. 53-year-old David Bottomley and his 17-year-old son Clayton from West Yorkshire were working at the 21st floor of a building on Chapel Street when the platform failed in May 2021. A health and safety executive investigation found that the platform, provided by Ad Astra Access Limited, had been manufactured in China and lacked safety systems required by British standards. Right, next to our series this month, looking at some of our rural communities. Living in some of our most picturesque places, of course, can be idyllic, but also, as we've been exploring, it poses challenges with things like transport, broadband, jobs, and tonight, a lack of affordable housing. Our environment correspondent, Judy Hobson, has been to Silverdale on the Morecambe Bay.
Nestled on the edge of the Lake District, this is the village of Silverdale. Around 1,500 people live here. It's a desirable area, but many residents say what the village lacks is affordable housing. Ellie works in Silverdale, but lives 4.5 miles out of the village.
There's not really that much on offer for renting in the village, so we're renting in Carnforth, which is a lot more affordable.
Ellie doesn't drive and would like to see better public transport links.
My partner drives, so sometimes we come in together. But if I have to get public transport, that's the train, which has recently gone up in price. And then it's a 25-minute walk from the train station. There's no bus in the morning, so I can't get the bus to work. We would really like to live here, me and my partner. We both work in Silverdale. But yeah, at the moment, it's just not really viable for us to live here.
Dan works in the village supermarket. He lives in Silverdale with his parents.
It's hard to afford living around here. I mean, even renting is pretty expensive. The average renting is $1,000 to $1,200 maybe a month.
Lack of affordable housing does impact village life. Recruiting staff to work in the local businesses is difficult.
We did have a stint where we were struggling to hire because it was just so far out of the way and didn't pay enough to compensate them for the travel or where they lived.
Parish councillors say they're working on a plan to improve transport links, but I asked them what could be done about housing.
Silverdale's a very, very popular place to live, and unfortunately there is a real lack of supply of affordable housing in the village. So there's problems with some businesses having to close or having to reduce their hours because they can't get workers for the hours that they need to be open.
Well, if we did develop some affordable housing as we hope to, then there would be a priority for local people. In fact, they may, if we do it right, it could be just for local people. But the big problem is getting hold of the right sort of sites. We're in a national landscape, which is an area of outstanding natural beauty, and we have a duty to protect that. So we don't want large new housing estates. Indeed, they wouldn't be allowed. We're looking for small sites on brownfield land.
The local school has 62 pupils.
The children are the heart and the soul of the village. We do forest school, we do beach school. More so over the last 4 years, the lack of affordable housing in the village has had a significant impact on pupil numbers. Now, pupil numbers have gone down nationwide anyway, but in a village like here where young families just can't afford to move into the village, therefore they'll look elsewhere.
The government says it intends to build 1.5 million homes over the next 5 years and says the Rural Housing Enabler programme provides grants to speed up small-scale developments to provide affordable housing. But local politicians say urgent action is needed if rural villages like Silverdale are to remain thriving communities.
It's an absolutely beautiful place to visit, and I want it to be kept as a real community and not just sort of a tourist destination with a lot of second homes.
Judy Hobson, BBC North West Tonight, Silverdale.
So Judy's here. That was the last in your series, Judy. We've seen lots of the issues that rural communities face. Many of them are unique, but what can be done about them?
Well, what we noticed was one of the biggest problems was the lack of public transport. Councils can ask for grants to sort of put more buses on underserved routes, but it's expensive. And there are, as we saw, lots of areas in Lancashire and Cumbria which don't have a bus service at all. And we also find that young people in particular can struggle in these communities. They might rely on parents to drive them everywhere. There might be slow internet connections, a lack of jobs and training. And then older people can feel quite isolated. A new report has just been published. It's called Understanding Rural Britain by a group of Labour MPs, including the Ribble Valley MP, Mayor Ellis. It found that 3/4 of residents felt that over the past 15 years their rural areas have been neglected. And in particular, there was a concern about accessing healthcare. People can't get to hospitals and appointments. And what they say, this report, is that there needs to be a really new focus on rural communities if they're going to make a difference to people who live in these areas.
Judy, thank you very much. It's been really interesting. Judy Hobson there. Now, for the past 40 years, the 2 nuclear power stations at Heysham have been providing electricity for the North West. Both were due to close over the next couple of years, but their lifespan's been extended because of delays to the new nuclear power stations that are due to come online 10 years ago. In fact, there were temporary shutdowns because of cracks in part of the reactor. I didn't realise it was that long ago. I remember it. So how safe is it now to extend their use? Jonas Muller has spent the day at Heysham 1.
Heysham is the only site to have 2 separate operating nuclear power stations. Heysham 1 is the oldest and today generates enough power for 2 million homes. Inside the charge hall you can see the 2 advanced gas-cooled reactors. Here the raw uranium is used and the process starts to make electricity.
So we make electricity from nuclear power by splitting the atom. So in really controlled conditions, as you would expect, we split the atom, that produces heat. The heat is in the reactor. We take that heat, turn water into steam, and that's what turns the steam turbines to produce the electricity.
At Heysham 1, you can stand in the middle and see the top of both reactors.
I can't quite believe it, but I'm stood on top of a nuclear reactor. Below me are uranium pellets, each the size of a fingernail. 3 million of them. That's equivalent to 3 million tons of coal. And crucially, I'm still showing 0 radiation.
In this room you can see the boilers, the turbines and the generators in action. Heysham 1 employs around 750 people. The plant recruits around 20 apprentices every year.
Personally, I've enjoyed hands-on work, so I thought this job would be perfect for me, getting out on plant, doing a lot with different tools.
And when you tell people I'm working at a nuclear power station, how do they react to you?
Yeah, sometimes they're a bit like, really, are you sure that that's what you do? I'm like, yes, because they don't see me doing being an electrician either, so it does take people back a little bit.
Every reactor has a lifespan. The original design would have meant Heysham 1 would have stopped generating around 2008, but has been given regular extensions. The latest is until 2027. After that, it all depends on inspections and maintenance.
Neighbouring Heysham 2, which opened 5 years later in 1988, will generate at least until 2028. Its used fuel is stored in these ponds before being transported to Sellafield.
We hear about cracks and degradation and all that kind of stuff. What can you say about that?
So when my friends ask me about the nuclear reactors, I talk about tyres on cars. You expect the tread on the tyre to wear. So we expect the reactor to age over time. That's expected. We inspect it to make sure we understand its condition. And at an appropriate point, we will decide the tread on the tyre is insufficient to carry on. And that's the point we'll reach end of generation.
Between them, the Heysham power stations produce 5% of UK's electricity and continue to play a vital role in our energy needs. Jonas Muller, BBC Northwest Tonight, Heysham.
Right, here are some of the other stories that people are reading this evening from BBC News. And Manx Care says an overhaul of dentist contracts could slash Isle of Wight waiting lists by 93%. Checkups, though, will be every 2 years instead of every 6 months. A woman was rescued from Kinder Low in the Peak District after initial fears she'd had a heart attack. Thankfully, she hadn't. She was stretchered down by the Kinder Mountain Rescue Team and taken to hospital. And Tim Farron has hit back at criticism that he talks doom and gloom about tourism in the Lake District. The Liberal Democrat MP says that the comments are mind-boggling. You can find out more at bbc.co.uk/local news, or, of course, have a look on the BBC News app. Right, League Cup football tonight. Everton host Mansfield Town. Manchester United go to Grimsby. First time those two clubs have met since 1948. Last night, a mixed bag for our teams. Oliver Sonner scored this stoppage time winner as Burnley beat Championship side Derby County 2-1, rounding off a lovely team move to score his first goal for the club. In the all Greater Manchester tie, it was Wigan who came out on top against Stockport County. Fraser Murray there scoring the only goal of the game. It was defeat for Accrington Stanley, who lost 2-0 at home to Doncaster Rovers. And here for Preston North End, who conceded a 92nd minute goal against Wrexham. Now, 90 years ago, the Mardale Valley in the Lake District was flooded to create the Haweswater Reservoir, which still supplies Manchester with clean water. The village of Mardale was evacuated and disappeared under the water. Well, now, one of the driest summers on record, as we've talked about many times, has exposed what is left of Mardale. But one little corner of the village survived intact. Molly Brewer has been to take a look at it today.
Among the hills and valleys of the Lake District, man is slowly changing the face of nature.
More than 85 years ago, there was a village, the lost village of Mardale. Residents were forced to up sticks and move to make way for Haweswater Reservoir.
A new dam is being built to store water for Manchester's supply, and soon the whole of the valley and the church will be flooded.
Now, after a dry period of weather, ironically not like today, and when water levels are low, you can see the ruins of this forgotten village, and that's all that's left really now, ruins. All buildings and houses were destroyed, all except for one.
Out of the 48 buildings, which were either buildings or farms, this was the only one that survived.
In this old school lives 94-year-old Robert.
This is a picture of the original Meesan School as it was located in the Haweswater area.
What I find incredible about this house, Robert, is that it was actually moved brick by brick.
There was a woman called Elizabeth Orford who at that time had bought the Meesan School, which was halfway down the Haweswater Lake, and she objected strongly to the valley being flooded. And then she decided, okay, that she would have the house literally moved stone by stone from its location in Haweswater to where it is today. This was the classroom area, and that's the original beam.
And if it wasn't for Elizabeth and her stubbornness, the school wouldn't have produced such success stories.
It was a relatively small school, and obviously it was located just between the two lakes before the flood. They were educated at a very high level. One became Bishop of Carlisle. So these are children that were educated in a very simple school.
And while this house stands, the very last of its kind, Mardale Village, although lost, will never be forgotten. Molly Brewer, BBC North West Tonight.
Fascinating. Now, for the past 8.5 years, Tom English has been at every performance of the circus at Blackpool Tower. That's 2, sometimes even 3 shows a day. Tom started going after his wife, Fran, died in 2017, and he was there today for the 1 o'clock matinee. Of course he was. And Andy Gill was there with him.
Tom English looks on as a trapeze artist entertains mums and dads, boys and girls at Blackpool Tower this afternoon. Tom loves every second of the show, which is why he's been here for every show for the past 8.5 years.
The humour's changed completely, but it's still very funny, very, very funny. I mean, I know what's coming, but it still makes me laugh.
He even has his own seat reserved for him for every performance. Tom's wife, Fran, who had Alzheimer's, died in 2017. That's when his marathon circus going began.
Because I couldn't stand being at home.
Right.
I couldn't bear going in the bathroom. sorry.
It's okay.
I couldn't bear being at home on my own. I come here and I've got my friends, and this is where I want. If I pop my clothes, this is where I want to be. On the very last show of the season, and at the end of the finale, because I don't want to stop the show, you know.
The brothers who run the circus say Tom is just as much a part of the show as they are.
To be honest, we don't actually think of him as an audience. We kind of think of him as part of the show.
Yeah,
he's always there. To be honest, he's actually better dressed than some of our artists. To be honest, he's always got a whistling toot and he looks beautiful always.
Yeah, I come in and I go, and I spot him, and there's like a. We just look at each other and go, all right.
Tom says he never gets bored.
But I love to see people enjoying themselves and laughing, and the kids, you know, they enjoy it.
And in the winter, he'll watch a video of the show at least once a day. So what about this afternoon's performance?
Fantastic. It's amazing. I was in tears laughing. Can't help myself. It's wonderful.
Andy Gill, BBC North West Tonight, Blackpool.
I bet Andy enjoyed it as much as Tom did. Right, here's the weather. Abby is with us. Hi, Abby.
Hello there. Yeah, and a bit more changeable today. It was a beautiful sunrise, but it did then turn much more unsettled, so greyer skies, and we've seen hundreds of lightning strikes actually today across Lancashire. So if you do take a weather photo over the next few days and you'd like to send it in to us here at North West Tonight, all the details on the screen behind me directly into social media, or you can become one of our BBC weather watchers. So the headline for tomorrow then, more changeable for sure. A few heavy showers continuing, but they will be interspersed with some brighter spells, all thanks to this area of low pressure. Our jet stream has shifted south, so the Atlantic has really kicked back into gear. It's going to be fairly breezy over the next few days, and I think as we head towards the weekend, Saturday in particular does look quite unsettled, wet and windy at times. Overnight tonight, 1 or 2 showers continuing, but a good deal of dry weather, variable amounts of clouds, some clear spells as well, and our temperatures dropping to around 9 or 10 degrees Celsius. But you can see already waiting in the wings some pretty hefty showers right from the word go. A blustery day too, so these showers are going to be moving through fairly quickly. 1 or 2 you may even hear the odd rumble of thunder, the odd flash of lightning once again, but still interspersed with some sunshine. Temperatures around 18 or 19 degrees Celsius for tomorrow. And we do have a fresh area of low pressure moving in for Saturday. This one, you can see it on the pressure chart here, and it will bring a band of fairly heavy rain sweeping west to east during the course of the day on Saturday, so wet and windy for a time. The return then to sunshine and showers on Sunday. This is how Friday is looking. Fairly unsettled out there as we start, a few heavy showers, but it does look to turn drier and brighter as we head through towards the end of the day. Temperatures gradually dropping a little bit, I think, as we head towards the weekend. So 18, 19, maybe 20 degrees if we do see prolonged spells of sunshine on Friday. But those temperatures are going to continue to freshen up. So 15, 16 degrees Celsius at best, I think, Saturday, Sunday and into next week, where low pressure is sticking close by and our weather is going to stay pretty changeable, Rog.
Abby, thank you very much, and thank you for the lesson in Union flag flying. Lots of people have been in touch. We took all the images from the video that we filmed today, but it makes no difference if you view it front or back, I'm told. Every day's a school day.
Yes, good night.
Good night.